Prabhupada was born in 1896 into a family of devotees of Krishna. Vaishnava family. They're called Vaishnavas. The British were ruling India, and so there was a lot of segregation, a lot of subjugation of Indian people and Indian religion and so on, Hinduism at the time. But Prabhupada grew up. He went to an English, Scottish school, English school, so he knew English and so on. Here he's performing a festival as a child. It's called the Rath Yatra Festival. We do it all over the States, all over the world. We have these festivals where we pull the Lord. There's a story behind it, but the black-faced carving there, that's Krishna. And then next to is Krishna's sister, Subhadra. And then on the far side is Balaram, Krishna's brother. So yeah, God has relatives, but they're all transcendental and spiritual. So we do this festival. It represents us serving Krishna. We're serving him. We're pulling him. Most people pray to God and go to church or to mosque or whatever. Give me, give me, give me. But we teach, let's give something to the Supreme. It's called bhakti. The bhakti movement means devotional service. Use everything in the service of God. You don't have to reject everything. That's another philosophy. But we use everything in the service of the Supreme because actually everything comes from him. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you read the Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo means everything emanates from me, material, spiritual, everything. All living beings are my eternal parts and parcels. Science, they don't know what consciousness is. I asked a big scientist, he was a friend of Albert Einstein, he came to Mumbai. And I said, he said, we don't know what consciousness is, you know. I said, do you love your wife and children? He said, yeah, I love my wife and children. I said, show me love under a microscope. Love comes from the soul. No one's seen it, touched it, smelt it, tasted it, right? So this is a science, how to experience our inner, our real self, the soul. And there's the super soul. Along with the soul, Krishna, our God, always accompanies us. We've heard the statement, God in the heart. Well, yeah, he's in the heart. And he knows everything about us, future, past, present. He's cognizant of everyone's thoughts and everyone's future and everyone's past. Haribo, let's go. Okay, in 1922, Prabhupada's a young man. He's 26 years old. He's got a family. And he meets a great, great master. His name is Bhakti Siddhanta. Siddhanta means one who knows the conclusion of bhakti, or devotion. And he has 64 temples all over India. He has many followers. And even the British would come and, you know, oh, this is a real holy man. So they come and see him. And he tells Srila Prabhupada, the young man here, Abai, his name is Abai, why don't you take this knowledge outside of India? Forget about India. Go outside India and spread this. And he was saying, oh no, I'm part of the Gandhi movement, quit India movement, you know, get the British out of India. Mahatma Gandhi's, he's a politician. And his teacher said, leaders come and go. Governments come and go. They don't have the answers. You know, he said it doesn't matter. If you become a devotee of Krishna, Krishna promises, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I'll take care of you. He says it right in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll take care of you, spiritually and materially. So that was the message he gave to Srila Prabhupada. And his whole life, Srila Prabhupada was thinking, how am I going to go outside of India? How am I going to do it? But eventually Krishna guided him. As I said, he got on the cargo boat, ended up in New York, in the Bowery. Okay, in 1944, so the Nazis are trying to take over the world, right? 1944, they're losing the battle, the big World War II. Millions of people are dying. And Srila Prabhupada's in Delhi, and he's wearing the robes of a monk or a renunciate right now. He's renounced family life. And he's doing a little, trying to preach to the Indians. He's going into restaurants and cafes, and he's saying, take up your ancient culture, your ancient knowledge. Don't imitate the West. And he's writing books and so on. He's writing pamphlets. Back to Godhead is a magazine that he started in the 50s. And to this day, we still print the Back to Godhead magazines. So people are kind of listening to him, and he's doing it all by himself. He doesn't have any followers. He's just trying to please his spiritual master. Okay. Tea stall. He's in the tea stall in Delhi. There you have tea. So, in many spiritual movements, because of the influence of the age, we're in an age, there's 4 ages according to Hinduism. We're in the dark age. It's called the age of Kali, or the age of quarrel. There's always chaos and conflict in the world in this age because people don't follow Dharma. So Radhakund is a place where Krishna lived, and Radha is Krishna's female counterpart. And there's a very spiritual place there. It's a kund, it's a lake, small lake. And if you take bath there, you're very fortunate. So people go there on pilgrimage. And Prabhupada went with his teacher, his spiritual master in 35. And he said, if you ever get money, print books. And print books in as many languages as you can and distribute them throughout the world. Books is actually nothing but sound. It's also chanting. So he has taken the Sanskrit literatures, translated them into the various languages. And when we read, it's just like you're hearing the great master. A book is nothing but sound, right? And that sound goes through our consciousness. So that's what he decided to do. Okay. This is 1965, summer of 65. What's happening in the West? Okay, the Vietnam War, Civil Rights Movement, Martin Luther King, all that stuff's going on. Lots of protests, lots of kids getting shot at. A lot of turmoil in America and other parts of the world. But I was kind of in this environment. So Srila Prabhupada comes to America. He lands actually in Boston. And some gentleman from India, he was a citizen of America now with his American wife, and he had sent Prabhupada a sponsorship. So Prabhupada had a 3-month visa or something, maybe 6 months. And so he comes here and he's thinking, what am I doing here? Everyone's like into materialism. People are, they're not following any kind of dharma. What am I doing here? So anyway, he goes, stays with this family in Port Royal, Pennsylvania, and then he gradually moves to New York, where there's some swamis and gurus, and the whole yoga scene is starting to take off, And some swamis give him a place to teach the Bhagavad Gita, soul and God, and so on. So then he eventually gets a little place. Some of the young people, they find him a place in the Bowery, a tiny little storefront. And outside, there's drunks lying on the sidewalk and so on. And he starts giving Bhagavad Gita class in 1966. And he starts telling his follower, young people, just go and chant Hare Krishna in the street. They're going out the streets and in parks around New York, and they're chanting Hare Krishna. Wow, what's this? So they have some underground newspapers in New York. I forget the names of them, but they say, hey, there's some Swami in the Bowery, and he's got these young people chanting Hare Krishna. What's going on? And so people started coming and listening to him. So he's this very grave, sincere, deeply spiritual person. And there's all these young kids, like I was 20 when I met him. completely spaced out, LSD, MDA, all this stuff. And we're actually trying to find nirvana, We're just trying to, what's life about, And so he taught us, he raised our we wanted to get high. And when we were chanting Hare Krishna in the streets, we were getting higher and higher and higher. Uh-oh. So this is 1966. The revolutionary young people, the rebels, we're all here listening to Prabhupada. He's giving the Bhagavad Gita lectures, teaching us to chant. He also taught us to cook vegetarian food and offered it to Krishna. So he's actually cooking for everyone, dal, rice, chapatis, and sabji, and so on. He's teaching different, Vedic menus and so on. So this is the kind of young people that were coming to him. And he's teaching them the Bhagavad Gita and the consciousness-based philosophy that we're the soul, we're not these bodies. The body will die, but the soul goes on. That's the fundamentals of the Bhagavad Gita. So then a lot of professors of theology, like at Harvard, Harvey Cox, Diane Eck, she was a teacher at Harvard teaching Hinduism. I said, wow, this guy is pretty sincere. And he was translating books, and these are all the different languages. There's over 100 languages now translated of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and the books he wrote. And so these professors would come to meet him, and they were quite impressed by him. They were impacted by him. And Harvey Cox was the advisor to Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan asked him, what about these Hare Krishna guys? Are they a cult? Are they what are they? Are they stealing our kids? And Harvey Cox said, they're actually following what Christians are supposed to be following. They're following the rules of the religion, of Dharma. Thou shalt not kill, vegetarianism, and things like that, So he gave Ronald Reagan, he gave Prabhupada a great endorsement, At that time, there was what is called the anti-cult movement, and they would say, you guys are brainwashed, you're eating only vegetables? You guys must be brainwashed. Oh, what are you doing practicing celibacy? Well, I was a celibate monk for 11 years, but we have marriage, we have children, but not outside of marriage, There's a kind of a institution, so the kids are nice and peaceful as they grow up, and we teach them spirituality. So we never said no sex. We said sex is for, producing beautiful kids, having nice children, having good family life, and put Krishna in the center. That's all. Anyway, they were the anti-cult movement, and we went through that, and a lot of the professors really respected that Srila Prabhupada had come to the West and turned hippies into happies. He said, I'm making hippies into happies. This is Tompkins Square Park.
We're happy now.
Yeah.
To piggyback off of what you were saying, but then the Supreme Court, remember?
There was a big court case. The Christians and the rabbis, they didn't like us very much. A lot of Jewish kids were joining. Some of my ancestors, relatives are Jewish. And then there's Christians. My mother's Christian. And anyway, a lot of parents, they didn't like the Hare Krishna. So they put in the Supreme Court of New York, they put a case against Hare Krishna is illegal. They're, what do you call it? Like a threat to society. Of course, Socrates was also put to death because he was preaching to the young people of Greece, and they put him to death. Drink some hemlock. So anyway, the case went, and all the professors from all the universities, the prominent universities in America, came and told the judge, look, this is bona fide. And so ultimately, although we went through a lot of, court cases and
They had to
tribulation.
They had to present the philosophy showing the history of the Vedic text,
Yeah.
proving that it's a bona fide scripture, bona fide way of life practice, connecting to God. And then so the Supreme Court stamped the Hare Krishna movement as a bona fide religion in America. And that was like a big win for the Hare Krishna movement, because all of the people who were like wanted to say that they were brainwashed and all of these things like that, they basically couldn't, under the pretext of the Supreme Court, they had to like quiet down and then let the Hare Krishnas, like, let them chant and dance.
That was around 75 when the different religious groups, fanatical religions, put this case against us. And then Prabhupada said, don't worry, this is arrangement. The judge had to read all Prabhupada's books. And that's a lot of books. And of course, all the universities had Prabhupada's books. So the professors who were theologians, they understood the spirit of religion is a thread that runs through all religions. It's the same. Love thy Lord, love thy neighbor, be kind, all these kind of things. So they're reading this stuff, and this is bona fide, philosophy of God. Okay. This is Cardinal Daniel Liu. He's a cardinal, which is right under the Pope. And this is in Paris. So Prabhupada was constantly moving around the world. He'd go to Africa, USSR, China. No, he never got to China. South America. He went everywhere. And so he's preaching in Paris. And this particular, he's the, what did I call him? Cardinal. He was saying, no, animals don't have a soul. You can eat animals. It's no problem. So Prabhupada was convincing him and showing that the soul is a symptom of life, whether it's a butterfly, a bug, an animal. And so he's saying that, the Bible says thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say murder, just humans. It says thou shalt not kill. So that is, in Hinduism, it's called ahimsa. In Buddhism, it's called ahimsa. Non-violence to other creatures on the planet. They're also sacred. And in the Gita it says, Vijavanaya Sampane Brahmani Garvihasani, means an educated person, a pandit, you've heard the word pandit, a learned person sees equally all different types of creatures, all different types of social classes. Everyone's equal on the spiritual level. Different genders, different races, different species, but we're all equal on the spiritual level. So that's what he's telling Cardinal Daniel. You want to minimize violence. Of course, you have to eat, but we eat vegetables. The amount of violence to vegetables is far less than slaughterhouse violence, right? And Cardinal Daniel, didn't get it, So, the first public Rath Yatra. Rath means cart, Yatra means procession. So we have these big processions in the West where we pull the Lord Jagannath. Jagannath means Lord of the universe. Baladev is Krishna's first expansion and his brother. And Subhadra is the feminine aspect of Krishna, of God. So in San Francisco, 1967, we had this big procession, Golden Gate Park, and then we got to the ocean. I wasn't there at that time, but I've been to the San Francisco festivals. And all these hippies are all coming with their outfits and feathers in our hair and flowers in our hair. If you're going to San Francisco, don't forget to wear flowers in your hair. So he was bringing all these young people, and we had a wonderful festival. Everyone got tons and tons of nice, what we called spiritual food, prasadam. And it was very successful, and the whole movement started to take off from this time. It's called the Hare Krishna explosion. It's all over the States, all over Western Europe, Australia, Canada. Centers started opening up, and the Hare Krishna movement was really taking off. There's a book called The Hare Krishna Explosion. Srila Prabhupada established deity worship. That's a little bit unusual for Western minds. But Krishna in the Gita, or in the Vedas, there's a whole process where you can invite God. There's a description of God. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha. God has a form, but it's Sat, Chit, and Ananda, eternal knowledge and bliss. A Vigraha means form. God has a form. So anyway, Prabhupada established deities. So Krishna explains, and the Vedas explain, the great saints have explained, that in the spiritual world, the Lord is having the same relationships that we have. There's Santa, that means just a very distant relationship. Then there's Dasya. Dasya means servant. Like I get a job, I serve the employer, that's Dasya Ras. Sakya, friendship. Hey buddy, let's go do something. Let's go play golf, whatever. Friendship relationships. The next one is Vatsalya, or parental. Krishna, his devotees, sometimes they have this parental feeling towards Krishna. They want to protect him, they want to feed him. And these are described in the literatures. And then the ultimate one, which is Krishna's conjugal relationship with Radha, that there is this pure divine conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. And Krishna is dancing with Radharani and the milkmaids in the middle of the night. So these are various relationships. In the material world, is considered a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So we also have these relationships, but they're temporary and they're fraught with problems. Your kids grow up and they don't do what you wanted them to do. Or your friends, sometimes you lose your friends. Or you're in a conjugal relationship and it takes a lot of work, right? Relationships take a lot of work. In the spiritual world, these relationships with Krishna are perfect. So Radha and Krishna. Radha means Ladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of God, the feminine potency of God. And Krishna means the supreme, the one who enjoys. And now we've got the pilgrims coming through. So let's keep moving. So we have what is called Gurukula system. It means the place where the Guru teaches the Vedic knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, Brahma Samhita, and so on. So at a young age, young kids are starting to learn who they are and what the purpose of human life is. Komaram, how's it go? Acharat Pragyo Dharmam Bhagavatanihan. Durabam Manush. Human form of life is very rare. There's millions of species. We get this human body, and the purpose is we can ask philosophical questions. Who am I? Where am I going? Why is there birth, death, old age, and disease? Why is there misery with this world and this world? So that animals can't ask those questions. They ask 4 questions. Ahara, Nija, Bhaya, Maitunya. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's all they can ask. But humans, this human body is a gift. And Atata Brahma Jigyasa, self-realization. It's meant for self-realization. I am an eternal soul, separate from my body. No upadis. Upadi means misconceptions of life. Oh, he's a communist. Oh, he's a capitalist. Oh, he's white. He's brown. He's black. He's Chinese. Those are all upadis, or temporary designations. We are all eternal souls. And when we understand that, then there can be world peace. Until then, good luck. So, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada used to wake up at about 2 o'clock in the morning and translating the Sanskrit literatures. Every day he would translate. So the Bhagavatam has 18,000 Sanskrit slokas or mantras. And he translated all 18,000 into, beginning with English and then other languages. And he gives a commentary on each one of those 18,000 verses. So when you go back to your home, try to find a temple or an ashram and try to get this Srimad Bhagavatam, or at least try to get a Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita has 700 mantras or shlokas, and he has given a commentary on each one. It starts with Dehinosmin Yata Dehi. It means the body goes from childhood, babyhood, childhood, youth, adulthood, old age, and then it dies. But the soul is just the same, remains the same. Look at a picture of you when you're 2 years old. Different body. Okay, I was here 14 November 1977. So Prabhupada came to America in 65. In 12 years, he established 108 centers around the world. He translated all these literatures. He established the chanting of Hare Krishna. Thousands of people joined him. At the age of 82, he left the planet. I was in the room. And then they said, any volunteers to dig his, what do you call that, tomb? His tomb. And I put my hand up, so I was there all night. There was no excavators, no backhoes in Vrindavan, where Krishna's birthplace. So I got that great service, great honor to dig his tomb. And then we entombed him the next day. They don't burn the bodies of great saints. They put them in what is called samadhi or trance. Samadhi means trance. And the pilgrims are here. Okay, let's keep going.
You see, he's still translating.
He was translating up to the last day.
Yeah.
The Bhagavad Purana, Bhagavatam.
So if he passed away and he was buried in Vrindavan, why is